Good evening, and welcome to the Informant Market Desk, where we continue our nightly ritual of pretending that the digital shouting match in the foreground has any more power over your portfolio than the weather forecast in Antarctica. Let us begin with the headline. Donald Trump posted 43 times yesterday, resulting in two distinct bursts of activity that somehow managed to tank his own stock, while leaving the rest of the world largely confused about who was supposed to be angry at whom. We opened the book on today's chaos with a first burst consisting of 32 posts crammed into 24 minutes. You can almost hear the server fans spinning in distress. The market's reaction. AMD dropped 3.06%, landing squarely in the 98th percentile of historical moves for this asset class. Let that sink in. We are talking about Advanced Micro Devices, a company that makes computer chips, which was punished as severely as if it had announced it was switching its entire manufacturing process to using quills and parchment paper. The second burst followed later, with 9 posts over 24 minutes. This time, the victim was Ethereum, which fell 0.71%, a move that sits in the 72nd percentile. It's a solid drop, sure, but compared to the rest of the day, it's practically a nap. Meanwhile, Donald Trump himself saw his own stock, DJT, get absolutely hammered. We are looking at multiple data points here, which is important because I refuse to let you ignore the redundancy of reality. First, we saw DJT drop 3.29% in the 96th percentile. Then another drop of 3.29%, also in the 96th percentile. Did you hear that? Twice. Exactly the same number. It's as if the market looked at the feed, shrugged, and hit the undo button on his valuation twice for good measure. We also saw a 3.28% drop in the 96th percentile, followed by another 3.28% drop, again in the 96th percentile, and finally a 3.18% move in the 95th percentile. The point is not the decimals. The point is that every time the feed jumped, DJT fell, and it fell hard, consistently landing in the top 4 percentiles of bad days in history. It is a perfect, symmetrical disaster. In the pundit booth, our two colleagues, who are both wrong, were busy debating whether this was a crisis or a victory. Margot Kessler from the left called it a 5-alarm fire, where the intelligence apparatus has become a personal fan club, while Dale Buckhorn from the right insisted we are witnessing real leadership, as the swamp gets a new boss who knows how to fight back. They are both speaking different languages about the same event. One sees a deranged Pee Wee Herman mocking Ossoff. The other sees an untouchable warrior fighting the deep state. The market, in its infinite wisdom, saw a man posting 43 times and decided his stock was now worth roughly half of what it was on Tuesday, acting stunned every single night. That the market did not care is my middle name, but this was particularly egregious. We must also address the legal context, which seems to be the only thing keeping the topics list from being entirely empty. There is talk of courts and legal battles, with references to Mike Lee's fragmented thoughts on nuke the friggin' filibuster and various claims about libel suits failing. It's all very dramatic, but let's look at the registry for tonight, because we need to prove the date isn't being faked by the algorithm. Reading the registry seal aloud like a hostage proving the date. 9149 Alpha Delta 96 Foxtrot 0 Delta Bravo. There. The seal is read. The day is verified. You can stop asking if it's real now. On the home front, we have our audience poll results to review, strictly as a fun bit of audience business and not a prediction of anything other than your own cynicism. Poll results: 142 people said, a market with a life of its own, always was. 89 people said, a post that just has not been typed yet, give it an hour. And 61 people said, nothing. You only think the feed drives the tape because we keep measuring it. The majority believes in the machine's autonomy, which is comforting, I suppose, if you enjoy feeling powerless. For this week's poll, I want to ask you directly. When the tape jumps and the feed is silent, what are you looking at? Is it a market with a life of its own that always was? Is it a post that just has not been typed yet, so give it an hour? Or is it nothing, because you only think the feed drives the tape because we keep measuring it? Vote on the site. Let's see who in this audience still believes they are part of the economy rather than just a spectator to it. We have promised a correction segment with the enthusiasm of a man who has one ready. But frankly, I need to look at these numbers one more time. DJT down 3.29%, then down 3.29% again. It's almost poetic in its repetition. The market is fine. I am the one who is not fine. Good night. DJT is bleeding out. Let's see how the booth interprets this disaster for the narrative. I'm tossing it over to you now.
The market is absolutely eviscerating the DJT stock, while Margot pretends to care about narrative. I want to be very careful about how I say this, and then I'm going to say it anyway. This chaos is a disaster for our side, proving that even his bizarre child savings delusions can't stop the bleed.
My co-panelist screams about buying Georgia while I smell victory sauce. Rick Jackson just swept the peach state, and now Iran pays for our shipping because Margot Kessler wishes she had a null hypothesis to explain this dominance.
Rick Jackson predicted dominance. Margot Kessler feared a null hypothesis. The market delivered a minus 3.29% collapse, landing in the 96th percentile.